and why Trump wants Greenland so badly. Geopolitically speaking, Greenland has once again captured global attention, as President-elect Donald Trump has recently revived his idea of annexing the territory. While the idea might sound far-fetched to some, it does remind us of the Arctic's growing geopolitical importance. With new shipping routes, untapped natural resources, and military advantages, the Arctic is a prize to be had. So why is Greenland such a big deal? And how does it fit into the broader power struggle for the Arctic? The Arctic is warming up at an unprecedented rate due to a phenomenon called Arctic amplification. As the ice melts, it is unlocking new opportunities, resulting in intensifying competition for dominance in the region. Emerging shipping routes could open up new opportunities for the global economy, drastically reducing transit times, creating significant geopolitical and economic advantages for nations that control them. Apart from transportation, the Arctic is home to vast, untapped resources, including an estimated 22% of the world's undiscovered oil and gas reserves, as well as valuable minerals. With these riches becoming more accessible due to climate change, countries are racing to stake their claims. The United States, recognizing the strategic importance of the Arctic, is looking to secure its dominance, and in comes Greenland. Greenland is the world's largest island, and while much of it is covered in ice, its strategic importance is immense. Trump's renewed interest in Greenland isn't without precedent. In 2019, he proposed buying Greenland from Denmark, calling it essentially a large real estate deal. While his offer was rejected, it did put Greenland's importance in the spotlight. But why is Greenland so valuable? Firstly, there are strategic reasons. Sitting at the crossroads of the Arctic and the Atlantic, Greenland, along with Iceland, has historically played a pivotal role in securing these waters. For example, in the Cold War, Greenland and Iceland formed part of the GI-UK gap, Greenland, Iceland, United Kingdom gap, a strategic choke point that effectively blocked Soviet naval vessels and submarines from accessing the Northern Atlantic. By linking these three islands, NATO forces created a defensive barrier that prevented Soviet ships from navigating freely between the Arctic and the Atlantic. Additionally, the Thule Air Base in Greenland was instrumental in monitoring Soviet activity and remains critical today for missile defense and Arctic surveillance. The island's role in securing the Arctic and the Atlantic is as relevant now as it was during the Cold War. Also, Greenland is rich in natural resources. It holds an estimated 38.5 million tons of rare earth oxides, which is vital for electric vehicles and military technology, as well as a significant deposit of uranium, zinc, and over 11 billion tons of iron ore. Greenland's oil and gas reserves are estimated at 31 billion barrels of oil and 110 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. So yeah, Greenland also has a lot of natural wealth. So if you combine its location, military significance, and resource potential, Greenland has become one of the most sought after pieces of geopolitical real estate in the Arctic. But why is that all of a sudden? Well, the fact is, a race for Arctic dominance has been happening for a while now, and the US is losing this race by a long shot. The rising interest in Greenland reflects the growing competition for Arctic dominance. Countries are scrambling to get their piece of the pie, and one of these countries in particular stands out: Russia. As things stand now, Russia is way ahead of the competition, driven by the new shipping routes like the Northern Sea Route, or NSR. As you can see on the map, the NSR passes along the Russian coastline, which falls into Russia's exclusive economic zone, and this immediately gives Russia a massive advantage legally, politically, economically, strategically, you name it. This is because the NSR is set to rival traditional shipping lanes and corridors like the Suez Canal by offering faster and more secure transit between Europe and Asia, cutting the travel time by up to 40%, which, as you can imagine, significantly reduces costs and improves trade efficiency. Also, With growing instability in the Middle East, the NSR avoids volatile choke points like the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, and of course the Suez Canal itself, ultimately offering a safer alternative for global trade. For Russia, the NSR is a game changer. Historically, Russia wasn't a dominant oceanic power. However, as things stand, by virtue of its location, Russia now has the chance to control a critical oceanic trade route. In other words, hitting the jackpot. So far, trade along the NSR has grown from a mere 1.26 million tons in 2012 to over 34 million tons in 2022, with projections suggesting it could reach 130 million in the next decade. These are massive leaps. To give you a reference point, the Suez Canal currently handles roughly 1 billion tons of trade per year, but this may decrease as more trade is redirected towards the NSR. And I haven't even discussed the amount of resources that Russia will have direct access to as well with the ongoing melting of ice. And all of this has got the US worried. This is why the US is eyeing Greenland. The US is hoping by gaining access to Greenland's resources and utilizing its location, Washington can close the gap between itself and Moscow. When it comes to investments, the Russians are also way ahead, along with various partners from various countries, most notably China, who have already invested $90 billion into the Russian Arctic. New ports, telecommunication infrastructure, power plants, airports, roads, railways have all popped up. Additionally, old towns and cities have been revamped, as well as creating new settlements entirely. Perhaps where the gap is most noticeable is Russia's fleet of icebreakers, which ensures trade can operate smoothly without the water freezing over. No other country has a fleet of icebreakers. They may have a few here or there, but not a fleet, let alone nuclear power ones, which Russia has by the handful. So yeah, the Russians are taking this seriously. And in terms of population, Russia also leads. The Arctic Circle is home to about 4 million people, with Russia alone accounting for approximately half of that population. Major cities like Murmansk, with a population of around 300,000 people, and Norilsk, which has about 180,000 people, serve as hubs for Arctic activity. Population is a crucial factor in geopolitics as it strengthens a country's ability to assert sovereignty, sustain infrastructure, and support economic activities. In the Arctic, population density directly impacts the capacity to develop natural resources, maintain military presence, and manage logistical operations in one of the world's most remote and strategic regions. Just to put things into perspective, the largest settlement outside of Russia within the Arctic Circle is Tromsø in Norway, which has about 75,000 people. So again, yeah, Russia's population advantage gives it a significant edge in dominating Arctic affairs. Hopefully now you can understand why Trump is eyeing Greenland. The Arctic is rapidly becoming one of the most strategically important regions in the world, with its abundant natural resources, emerging shipping routes, and pivotal military significance. The United States is trying to catch up to Russia. It's imperative for the US to do so if they want to maintain global dominance, and Greenland offers a critical pathway to do so. With Russia leading in Arctic infrastructure, trade, and population, the US faces a widening gap. Greenland, with its vast natural wealth, strategic location, and military significance, represents an opportunity for the US to secure a foothold in this vital region and hopefully closing the gap. As climate change reshapes the Arctic and intensifies competition, the importance of this region will only grow in the coming years. For Washington, prioritizing Greenland could help narrow the gap with Moscow and ensure the US remains a key player in the Arctic's future. Thanks for sticking to the very end, guys. Hopefully you found this video useful. Please drop a comment or a question. I'll try my best to answer them for you. Please like, share, and subscribe. #Arctic, #winter is coming. Ciao for now.